So I will go for our next speaker, Mr. Uh, Roshan Kumar. So Roshan is a software developer with near about 8 years experience, and he is specialized in Java technology using Spring, JPA, REST with AWS as a cloud service, and work as a companies like Aries Global, Persistent, and currently Sapiens in a different domain like pharmaceutical network, insurance, and e-commerce. And Roshan has previously co-founded Local Chat, and he has developed a back-end application of a hyper-local e-commerce platform. And today, Mr. Roshan will share our views on microservice learning. So, Roshan, uh,
Yeah, hi.
now you
Hello.
can, yeah, you can share the screen and you can just enlighten this
Yeah,
topic.
sure. Share my screen. Are you guys able to see the screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we will discuss about like what is microservice, like microservices and why it is required into the current industry. So am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, but your voice is so much, some humming voice is coming.
Hello?
Yeah,
Now?
yeah. Right now it's okay. Everything.
Okay. So microservices, which is like is a current trending technology in the software development. So it is widely used among all of the product-based companies for their product development. So microservices, like if you think of the any software, any product, so there are many functionalities is attached to it. Like if you think of the Facebook, which is very common platform for all of us. You can think of the like we have friends list, you have photos list, we have our wall, we have, so there are many kind of functionality. We can see it is a it is a services which is running into the Facebook. So we can think like every, like if you think of the friends list, it is one of the service which is giving the output to the Facebook UI to get the response. So what I meant to by request and response is like any application, if you think of, it is built on MVC layer. MVC is model, view, and controller. So model is what is like where we hold the data. View is like what you see into the any application, like a Facebook. If you see into the UI of that, that is our view. And the controller is the back is the back end, is the front end of the controller of the server, which takes the request and gives back the response back to the UI. So with the help of this microservices, what we are doing, that we are segregating our functionalities into different services, so that each service will be independent to each other, and like maintaining them is like maintaining them is will be super easy, and optimizing the performance. So here the microservices learning, so what we are providing into the syllabus is, so we is for the syllabus, like it is for both student and professional. Okay, I think it's not moving. So here we have designed this syllabus and is as a microservice introduction, and then we have microservice architecture. So in microservices introduction and architecture, we will discuss about like what are microservices and what are monolithics. So a monoliths is like it's earlier days, like every, like if I given the example of Facebook, all these friend services and photo services and the wall services all were together combined into the one of the application and deployed it as in a single server, which we called is as monoliths. So what are monoliths, that we will more discuss about in the course, and then we will see that why do we need microservices, and what are the pros and cons of the microservices, and then we will see that how we can transfer or we can convert monolith to microservices architecture. So first two, like microservice introduction and its architecture, we will see, and we'll see that what, so there are many use cases that we will not able to convert uh, monolith to microservices. Like every single software or every single project cannot be converted into microservices. There is a best use case is Stack Overflow. So like developers, it's a very common platform to discuss all about coding problems. So Stack Overflow is a thing you can think of. It is a monolith it is built on monolith architecture and cannot be break into the microservices. So these things we will discuss about in these first two topics, like what we can do or what we cannot do. So, and how to break it. So in the third week, like we will see like same thing which we have. Okay. So Spring Boot. So Spring Boot is the most common technology used for building the microservices in Java. It is like it makes it eases the development. So without Spring Boot, there are many things, many libraries we need to add it and configure it to our project to start with the microservices. But Spring Boot provides us the built-in libraries which help us to which helps us to ease our development and makes the development faster, and we can directly jump into our business logic to build the service. And then we have Spring Cloud concepts. In Spring Boot we will also discuss about like what are the REST APIs, and we'll try to build some RESTful APIs in all of the CRUD operations, like create, retrieve and update and delete with all these HTTP methods, which are like get, post, put and delete mappings. So any questions, like any, like you are able to relate, right? Hello.
Participants are requested to, if you have any question, you can ask question. You can ask question something which is related to this.
So
If you are,
even though if it's silly, then if it is interactable, it is really more easier for us to discuss.
yeah, I think one. Yeah, please, you can ask question. You can ask question, or you can write on chat, or you can write on chat also if you have any question.
Okay, then you can
So
message
yeah,
it.
Roshan, there is a one person, he said that he has a not so much coding experience onto that. So
Okay, okay. So
so what
that's
they do?
yeah, that's fine. Like that's what we are starting with our course with Java and with data structure and algorithm, where we are starting with our very basics like string and arrays. So for using that, you will be able to write some pseudo codes. And actually, coding is like first you have to analyze and like you can think. If you are able to think any problem and you can break it, like the same you can apply it like strings and arrays. That's what we are discussing about those topics, and then we will start with as in the earlier session we as mentioned, like we are going to teach with Java with some basic data structures like strings and arrays, and then we will go with the stacks and queues and linked lists. So while doing those problems, you will get to know about the coding, and then you can able to write the code. So those things are nothing but like you are solving any problem. So that will that eventually comes to a project. So if you are seeing that, if you see the Facebook friend list, you are taking your friend list for a single user and then you are displaying it. So at least you are fetching the data and putting it. So these kind of coding problems, if you try into our data structure and algorithm course, so that will be helpful to build the next level, like a full project using microservices. So for my recommendation is like if you write more pseudocode or if you do more hands-on on coding, that will be helpful for us to make this microservices project tutorial to go on. Anything more? We
Anything?
are bad with
Yeah,
no
that
problem.
yeah.
No problem. Like everything, like everyone starts with that only. So It's not the thing.
So you can ask question to Mr. Roshan that, or you can.
So microservices, like, are you aware of this concept or something like that? So first of all, concept need to be understand properly before coding.
Yeah, Roshan, they wants to ask you that what is the main goal of it? That is very important.
Yeah, that's what I told. Na, the if you think of the Facebook, like friend list is there. If you launch your URL facebook.com, there are many services from backend it is running. Like if you see my if a friend list is there, and your wall is there where your number of friends are there and they are sharing their posts. So all those posts are running. So you can think in the backend, like how many services are running. So if suppose every services are one behind the other, like say if the friend list is coming first, then the second service is who are the online friends. So the second service and third service, like for each friend what are the post it is there, the third trend. So if you think of executing first service, second service, third service, fourth service, and so on, so it will take more time to get the data to show into the UI. If suppose if Facebook you launching into the mobile or in Chrome or in any browser, like if it takes 5 minutes to load the page, who have that much patience to wait for those 5 minutes and see the data? So no one wants to wait for so much. So in the very simple way, like it makes, if we have five different services running separately in a parallel way, so getting those data means if each and every services are doing their job, and once they get the data and showed into the UI, into the Facebook, like suppose finding friends is taking around 30 seconds, finding wall is taking 20 seconds, finding images is taking another 20 seconds, finding uh, online friends is taking 20 seconds. So if you combine their this timing, so it will take more than a 2.5 minute. So those are not the ideal time to load any page in software. So if we separate, if we do it parallelly and show into the UI, making each services as separate, which we call this as a microservice, so that's where we'll make the UI to load faster using less timing. So did you get that? See, this is very like layman terms I am explaining. Of course there are many coding advantages also, so which I have not went, because that may lead to, like, we have not started yet, and that will make like not understandable also. So in a very layman term I have understood. It's like if you think of the any application, if it takes time, no one wants to use that. So everyone wants to make their website fast. So microservices is one of the way which you can make the faster software development, like faster, more performance oriented application. Guys, you got?
Yeah, I think that it's a very, very good, well articulate and explain about that microservice. It's really wonderful. I think that everyone is agree with me. They are writing yes. Okay, yeah. Thank you.
uh,
So
oh,
so so right now I just wants to add some few words about this. What is our main motto? What is our target about this launching this course? So as we know that it's a full stack platform development course, and currently in market there are so many programming courses are available. So there some are really good, but some of few courses are which they are provided it's not completed too much. So what we actually provide some 360 view of this full stack platform development to the students, which most of the big companies like that Amazon, Paytm, and Microsoft, etc. Are looking for. And so what should they why who should take this course? This is a very important part. So if you are an aspirant to work in the big tech companies but don't know how to start, then you have to must take this course. And what will be the course structure? It will cover into the three modules, as already our two speaker already told that. And we have another your faculties, but he is in right now. He is in US, so so it is really it's, too much early to join this meeting. So today it is not possible. So next day we will definitely will contact with you. So so the first module is I'll already discussed that efficient programming practice, what industry looks for during interview, and low payload, memory efficient, this type of coding, some data structure and contemporary algorithm they are frequently asked in the interview, and that's why we use Java as a programming language. And in module 2, that building scalable system using microservice and architectures. And in module 3, which is a 360 view of full stack uh, platform management, product management, and some digital marketing analytics case lecture from some tech companies such as Swiggy and Microsoft, etc. We will provide in the module 3. And you know that some module 1 and module 2 is already uh, taught by some industry expert. I already told you end to end full stack this platform. And module 3 will taken by some management experts from IIM alumni. And so this is the way that you can opt these 3 modules as a interest, and definitely we provide you a certificate. So I think that certificate is not only the things, but if you learn this very efficient manner, then everything is possible for you to get into that any very big top notch your product is come. So this is my words. If you have any ask any questions, so you can definitely ask. So uh, one of our participant has questioned that right now which programming language is used mostly in IT companies. So anyone, Roshan or Rohit, you can ask question. You can ask this answer. Rohit,
Depends on
Roshan.
the, yeah, means Rohit, I am saying that.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, it depends on the industry, means what kind of product it has. Okay, so if it's a web kind of application, right? So mostly the engines are on the Java. Okay, some scripting kind of things or the backend programming like machine learning or those kind of algorithms it has to be applied. Python is the best one. If engine is to be required, like a native programming kind of things or a library is to be created, so C++ is good. But in the industry, which actually the most industry is working on the web kind of or the e-commerce engine, so backends is mostly it is in the Java. Okay, and the Android platform, like everyone is creating the app nowadays, so to create the Android app, Java and Kotlin are used. Okay, so these are the basic one. In nowadays, these are the most popular programming languages: Java, Python, Kotlin, and others like at the front end, like Angular JS. Those are also popular. Okay, this kind of programming languages every industry is using, but it depends on the what kind of business they are doing.
Yeah, it's a you can I think you can understood that about this what kind of language industry basically needs. So in my point of view, so you have to go for the basic in a very one language a very good with a very efficiently. Then you can understood if your base is strong, then you can very easily grab any kind of language. Basically, you have to know the what is the advantage and what is the disadvantage. Then you can easily grab that language coding. Okay, so so if you have any other question to our faculties, so you can ask question.
Sudipto, like, can I complete my syllabus like I was in middle?
Okay, 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 sure, sure, sure.
Yeah, so after that we can have a Q&A session
Yeah,
further.
yeah, 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 sure.
Sure. So I was telling about like Spring Boot, and then we have a Spring Cloud concepts. So like Spring Cloud is like a cloud configuration server. We will see, and like we will see what are the API gateways and fault tolerance and some examples using the Spring Cloud using Netflix. APIs. Then we have a Spring Boot. Then we'll develop with Spring Boot with microservices, Eureka, and the Spring Cloud. Like we have to understand that we have service discoveries and like and implementing the Eureka server, and then running the Eureka server, and then we can create a client of application with Eureka servers. So after that we have microservices security. Like each services will be running separately, and then we have some way we have to configure our security mechanism to protect our services to get exposed to some other third party vendors. So we have to see like why we need it and what are the best practices to secure the microservices. And then like we will discuss about the most common security mechanism which is running nowadays is OAuth 2 and JWT, which Java web based token security. And then we will develop some examples like microservices with Spring Boot. Then we will configure our security in those services, and then we will develop some microservices project for that. So after that, like we need some development tools like JDK8. So we will be doing our microservices and building it using Java Development Kit 8. And then we need it like Eclipse or STS, then Maven for building our project, and then the Postman and the Google ARC, which is for testing our REST APIs, and then the MySQL DB for storing the data into the database. So this is the thing. And then we have designed it with the 6-week course, and then the 7th week like we will see to the projects. So first week like we'll discuss about the microservices introduction and its architecture. I told about the topics like why we need it, and we have to discuss about the monoliths and why we are going to for the microservices. And then we have to understand the Spring Boot concepts before building the microservices. So students which are not aware of any concepts like how to start with and how to do the codings and before we actually build the microservices, then for that we have designed this week which is Spring Boot concepts, where we will see the all the CRUD operations or the basic whatever the coding is required to build the services. So then we have a Spring Cloud concepts where whether we have to see the configuration server, Eureka server, and the client for that. So 5th week is for microservices with Spring Boot and Spring Boot Cloud, and the 6th week is microservices security, which we discussed about. And then we will create a production based microservices project which will be enhanced and performance oriented. Okay, so that's the thing. I think I'm done.
Okay. So thank you.
So yeah.
Uh,
So any Q&A like now we can discuss it if you have.
yeah. If you have any question regarding this full stack development, and if you have any type of query, so you can ask us. Okay, or you can write in your chat box also, so we can see that. Yeah, Roshan, there is a question from in a WhatsApp group that
Okay.
somebody asked that is it really very important for the freshers as a when they go for the interview, they needs all sort of things.
Yes. Okay. So for the freshers, it is required nowadays because there are many competence in the current market, like where the number of opportunities and less, and the candidates are more. So students nowadays, like I have seen, like they are learning into more of the technology and understanding that. So they are working. They are reading like they have trained. They are almost training themselves before going into the company. So if you know these technologies and the concepts, it will be easier for you to get inside. the company. Like nowadays, like it's 10 years back what we used to have, like if you learn any programming language, then it was quite enough for you to get inside the company. But now you have, because of so many technologies had come up in last 10 years, so it makes us more competitive to get inside that. So microservices, why we choose this, because this is really like it's used in each and every company, and it is the most important for any software building. So if you learn these concepts, it will make your chances higher to get inside to the company.
Okay, I think it's really nice you have explained. And there is another question from, I don't know what he said, that he's he's actually, he said that he wants to do programming on Ubuntu platform. So is it
Yes, yes, there is no problem. You can use a Linux based kernel or Windows, so that doesn't make a difference. It's good that if you are exposed to Linux, Ubuntu.
okay? So if you have any questions, so you can ask question once again. Uh, or you can write in the chat box. Uh, so there is a question:
Mhm.
is the basic knowledge of programming languages enough for getting job in IT companies?
Is the basic knowledge of programming language so basic knowledge of programming language, if you know, like it depends on the project. Like if they want what is the need of the project, if they are building from scratch, and then uh, they are going have they have a long term plan for that, then they will see some other things, like apart from your programming language, any technologies, any skills like ML, like microservices, or you have a cloud concepts. So those concepts we will see. Otherwise, if there are many projects also which are like maintenance projects, those are like we just need to support those projects. For that, like basic knowledge of any programming, like it also depends like which programming language they are using for those maintenance. So it depends, like it depends on the companies. So, but more of the like many places, if you learn other than any programming concepts, it will be easier for getting inside.
Yeah, I think you got your answer, right? Yeah, he said okay. So if you have any question, once again, we will take two more questions. So if you have any question, then you can ask question to our mentor. Okay, one person sent a question that what kind of question asked in Ghana? Yeah,
Then I think
yeah.
Uh,
I think Rohit will give this insight.
what kind of question asked in Ghana?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, it depends on uh, the candidate is a fresher or is an experienced candidate. Okay. So we used to go to the campus hiring every year, like IITs, BHU. Okay. So there we just judge the candidate on the basic of the data structure and algorithms. and if he can write the code in any programming language, that is sufficient. But with the experienced candidates, we particularly look for the Java. We evaluate them in the Java basics. Okay. Then DS algorithm, and after that it depends on in which unit he is going, because we have several components. Okay, if the candidate is going for the backend, then Java questions are asked. If he is going for the search and the machine learning, or the big data, then we used to ask from the core of the search, machine learning and big data. For the UI components, the interview is based on the iOS or Android. Okay. But for the freshers, we just focus on the basic skills of the problem solving, okay, on data structures and algorithms only.
Okay, I think he got his answer. There is a one. We'll take one question. One more question is there. That is, I don't get understood this question. That means I think that he asked about uh, Android or iOS. Which domain is good for income? I think that he will ask question about that regarding to in which programming language is market demand is high.
Now, basically, you see the most of the users, app users are Android users, right? There are very few users. They are using the iOS. Also, iOS have some other issues, like only you can get in the industry, and then you can get it to work on the get the chance to work on the iOS. And there are some license agreements and everything. You cannot just create your app on iOS and can publish on the uh, iOS platform. Okay, so their approvals are required and other things are there. The Android development is very easy. You can create your Android app and you can publish. There is the Google platform is there where you can just pay some amount and you can publish your app. Okay, with some security check and some list things. So it's very easy to get the grasp on the Android rather than on the iOS. Okay, you can get more and more traffic on the Android devices. So all the companies first initiates to invest in the Android, not on the iOS. Okay. The other thing is that the development is very easy. Okay, you can use the open source programming language like Java, and now Google has announced about the Kotlin, so Kotlin can be used. But in the Java also you can write the code for the Android. Okay, but in the case of iOS, again it's a restriction that only the uh, Apple, which is developing the code like Objective C, there only you can use it. Okay, so it's very easier to start with the Android only. Okay, and then you can think of the iOS technology.
Okay, okay. So thank you everyone. So I will send you some one WhatsApp group link. So there you can ask question. Once again for that, if you have any queries regarding this. So thank you for joining this meeting. I think that this will add some values. And if you have think that you wants to, so I already told you that which is in a 3 module course, and from each module I have already explained that. So interested student can request to join in that WhatsApp link. And so I think that share with your friends also for looking for some structured guidance to build a career in this full stack development. So thank you everyone. Thank you for coming this meeting. Okay. So thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.